Here's a question. Will President Obama use the hurricane as an opportunity for more spending, for jobs and infrastructure spending? We'll ask Bernard Whitman, and we will try not to yell at him.
Bernard, here's
the
thing.
It's not a revenue problem. This must be very hard to wake up every day and defend the same guy over and over again, because there's nothing left to defend. It is a spending issue. Everything you mentioned has yet to create a job.
That's like
Everyone
saying economics is a supply side issue, not a supply and demand issue.
It's so old.
Pushing President Obama, clearly pushing for more stimulus, that infrastructure bank, remember that? Well, now we've got an earthquake and we've got Hurricane Irene. Billions of dollars in damage could be billed to the U.S. government. Now, the White House could use this to push for an infrastructure spending plan. Former Clinton pollster Bernard Whitman is here with that. I think this is a backdoor infrastructure plan, and I can understand it. And I think it will be almost irresistible. How can the president not get his way when he says to the Republicans, I want to rebuild the Carolinas, I want to rebuild Long Island, we've had a terrible storm, I'm going to rebuild, it's a stimulus program?
Stuart, I think that's extraordinarily crass. The fact is, yeah, it's extraordinarily crass. The fact is, we don't need an excuse to spend money on infrastructure. Unemployment among the construction sector is 13.5%.
You don't think the president will do this?
We can create 30,000 jobs per $1 billion of investment. And by the way, these companies that are wreaking record profits aren't creating jobs.
You out? Every time I have to straighten you out. Look, a classic infrastructure bank proposal will not get through the House of Representatives, and the president knows it. However, an infrastructure spending plan which goes towards fixing the damage from an earthquake and fixing the damage from a hurricane, that will go through the House of Representatives, right?
If the country infrastructure is damaged by the hurricane, don't you expect the president and the Congress to act to rebuild that? Of course, yes. And by the way, if we actually happen to put people back to work and get them off unemployment and actually paying taxes, so be it. That is a good thing for America.
You think that's how we get people back to work? An infrastructure spending program.
I think it's one way.
At union scale, paying off the unions, and it didn't work in the first place. Right?
I think we've got to do a mixture of spending cuts and tax increases. That's what I've said.
Spending cuts and tax increases? Spending cuts and tax increases? That gets people back to work? Hold on a second. Hold on, Bernard. Tracy?
You're taking credit for a hurricane.
No, I'm not.
That's what you're essentially doing. Fingers crossed it smashes a lot of buildings, because that's the only way we'll get this country back to work. That is what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
The infrastructure plan will be passed because of the devastation of this country. I mean, talk about crass.
That is what Stuart said. That is not what I said. I
but
think
you
if the
said we
Congress
should have this infrastructure plan
a week ago on the show when the hurricane wasn't even a tropical depression.
Can I just ask a question? Can I just ask a question? Didn't we start? Hold on a second. Didn't we start this segment saying we weren't going to yell at Bernard?
It's so hard.
Having said that, I disagree with
hard.
everything you say, Bernard, but I don't plan to yell at you.
So you disagree with lowering the unemployment rate?
I disagree with raising taxes
jobs.
when we have a 9% unemployment rate. It is. You talk about what can pass Congress. There's no way in hell that a tax increase would pass with a 9% unemployment rate. You are not going to decrease unemployment by increasing the cost of employing people.
Hold on. You see, we said we're not going to yell at anybody, and just look at you.
I wasn't
Go back to Warren Buffett's idea. Go back to Warren Buffett's idea. Why not get incremental revenue from those who can most afford it, who, by the way, aren't going to create any more jobs or any less jobs if they have to pay a bit more in taxes?
Okay, now
that is such an extraordinary fallacy that you sell to people in Kansas because you're desperate to take
increases for the past 3 decades.
Okay, hold on. The CBO, that would be the Congressional Budget Office, that's the government's own forecasters, said yesterday that we're going to have an 8.5% unemployment rate by election day.
With this inflexible Congress, you damn Skippy.
Oh, please. Okay. I will get to my question. I can't believe that President Obama will be re-elected with an 8.5% unemployment rate. Are you going to say, yep, he's home free, he's going to be re-elected?
Well, I do know a thing or two about numbers. As a pollster, I will tell you this. 8.4% unemployment, that is going to be tough, but what's going to be tougher is if his approval rating is down under 45%, he is not reelectable. If his reelect replace numbers are under 45, he is unelectable. He has got to raise those approval numbers. Bernard. He's got to raise his reelect. If the unemployment goes down, that's what we're really shooting for. That's for the good of the country. But I tell you one thing, the Republicans in Congress have made it very clear that they will do everything they can, including stymieing spending bills that put people back to work in order to keep the unemployment high.
You think Republicans are sabotaging this economy in order to get elected?
I absolutely do.
Oh my God, Bernard, we have no money. We have no money. Nothing left.
Where's your purse?
Nothing. I have nothing. Nothing. I get nothing. I have nothing. We have nothing. The notion that you're going to sit there and say we need to spend more is ludicrous. And let me tell you something.
Why not make additional cuts in defense, which we can afford to do? That will actually lower the deficit and give us more revenue.
Cut everything then. Across the board, 5%. Quit your entitlement garbage. Cut it.
I suspect that your parents and the parents of all your friends may have a problem cutting all those entitlements that are paying for their health care and their retirement.
No, they won't.
As bad as the spending under Bush was, we have a deficit now that is 3 times as much as the highest deficit that he had.
Right, thanks to his unfunded war.
3 times.
Yeah, thanks to his unfunded war.
The war began in 2003, for God's sakes.
Right, under George W. Bush.
I think we're all talked out, yelled out, and the whole ball of wax. Bernard Whitman, what a pleasure to have you back.
Good to have you back, Stuart.